How's it going, guys? So this is Dragos, and for this episode I've watched Louis C.K.'s most recent special. It's called Sincerely, and it dropped on the 4th of April 2020. Now, what I've done with this particular video is I watched the special a couple times and I tracked LPMs. LPMs, for those of you that don't know, stand for laughs per minute. Laughs per minute is a metric that a lot of stand-up comedians use in order to identify how funny their material is. It's an objective metric to kind of determine how funny a show actually is, right? And the bottom line is basically more laughter equals funnier, which is, objectively true. So what I've done is I've watched the entire special, I've tracked down how much laughter is generated every minute, and then I've built up some analytics and some graphs to kind of show you a couple of things of what that might mean, right? I've also benchmarked this to give you an idea against 3 other specials that were released this month. I've benchmarked it against Tom Segura, Ballhog, Sam Morrill, It's Okay, and Marc, Marron, and Times Fun, to give you a bit of an idea how it looks, right? I'm only going to go into detail on Louis C.K. special this particular time, but if you guys want to see more detail on Tom Segura, Sam Morrill, or Marc Marron specials, please leave a comment and I'll try to do a video on those as well, right? This took a lot of time, so please, if you enjoy it, subscribe, give me a like, and just, show a bit of love, right? Okay, so let's get into it. This is Louis C.K.'s 7th special. Last one was in 2017, so he hasn't released a special since this camp. This is the first one, right? And it was built by touring mostly Europe and the US. The whole special is 60 minutes, but actually there's only 58 minutes of comedy. And in those 58 minutes of comedy, Louis touches on 20 topics. 20 topics, and these are the topics. If you're a comedian, you should think about these topics as bits. He has 20 bits, each just under 3 minutes, right? Now the topics are as follows. Dealing with the fallout of the scandal. Who are your real friends? The state of modern religion. The existence of God and believing in the afterlife. The death of his mother and her burial. The absence of God and God doing a press conference. Then he goes on to talk about small cities in Europe, little shops around the world, Florida and the sushi restaurant in Florida that he visited. This is a particularly funny bit. Wheelchair story and disabled people. A pretty big bit on this, quite funny bit. Number 11 is retarded people and social inclusion. Then he talks about kids and pedophilia. Afterwards, he goes on to talk about France and his French girlfriend. He talks about dogs being dumb. He talks about his Hungarian Jewish heritage in Auschwitz. He talks about being in his 50s and people in bad marriages. He talks about children and fucking them. He talks about vegans and gay people. He talks about, he actually addresses the allegations, and he has a couple of moments talking about that. And he closes up with a Freaky Friday mom story, which is very funny. So that's 20 topics. Out of those 20 topics, there are a lot of the material is basically dark jokes. A lot of the punchlines, they rotate around shock or shocking statements, right? So in total, I've kind of counted over 25 dark punchlines. There is 1 mention of necrophilia. There are about 6 mentions of pedophilia, 1 mention of zoophilia, 1 mention of blackface, 2 cultural jokes, at least 5 jokes where the punchline is this weird laugh he does. And he has about 5 jokes that rely heavily on accent and him doing someone's accent. For example, a Japanese accent. And about 10 jokes where the punchline is physical, is a physical cue that generates the laughter. There's only 1 callback throughout the entire special. And he uses repetition as a punchline about 5 times. Okay, so that gives you a bit of insight on what the content is all about. Let's get to the numbers. So 58 minutes is the entire special, and the total number of laughs in the special is about 422. 422 laughs for the entire special, right? Now, if we break that down by minute, the average comes out to 7.27 laughs per minute for the whole special. Okay, so let's get down to the numbers. In terms of LPMs, let's look at the first 5 minutes, okay? So check out the first 5 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, he averages 8.8 laughs per minute. 8.8 laughs per minute. That is insane, right? He starts off really, really strong in the first minute. The first 2 minutes, he does the 9 and 10. So this is one of the strongest starts I've ever seen in comedy. And then he proceeds to go on 8, 9, 8, right? So averaging 8.8 for the first 5 minutes. Then the next 5 minutes, minute 6, he does 11 laughs per minute. 11 laughs per minute. 11. The joke that gets 11 laughs per minute is actually the joke about his mother's cremation. 11 laughs per minute in the 6th minute. That is a laugh every 5.45 seconds. So every 5.5 seconds, there is a moment that generates laughter, which is insane. I think it's the highest he has in this particular show, if I'm not mistaken. Then he obviously does a bit of a slowdown, 8.6777, but then averages for the first 10 minutes overall, he averages 8.3 laps per minute. Moving on, by minute 15, he is at 8.2, keeping a bit of steady flow, and then ending the first 15 minutes with 10 laps per minute. Afterwards, the momentum continues. By minute 20, he is at 8.25 laps per minute, having bumped it up again from 10. Okay, let's look at all of it now. Okay, so basically, minute 25, he is 7.7 laps per minute. Minute 30, he is 8.32, picking it up again, laps per minute. Minute 35, 7.68 laps per minute. Minute 40, he's at 7.6. Overall, for the whole show now, that's 7.6 laps per minute. So there's been a significant slowdown, there's been a bit of a slowdown after minute 35, right? After the half hour passed, I think he's proven that he's still funny, and there's a bit of a slowdown. Then, minute 40, 7.6, minute 45, 7.62, then minute 50, 7.56. So as you can see, things are slowing down a bit, yeah? Progressively slowing down, minute 55, 7.34 laps per minute, and ends at the end 58 with a total of 7.27 laps per minute for the entire special. So Louis C.K.'s entire special basically is 7.27 laps per minute. 7.27 laps per minute is the average for the entire special. Now that means there is a laughter-inducing moment every 8.2 seconds. Every 8.2 seconds there's a laughter-inducing moment, and that's pretty impressive, right? Okay, visually this is how 7.27 and laps per minute look throughout the whole show. So as you can see, this starts it off here, tops up to 10, then it goes up to 11. Always staying above 5.5, right? Very rarely does it go under 5. See quite a bit of an interesting graph if you look at it this way. He starts off really strong here, a bit of a slowdown around minute 10, slowdown comparatively, it's still 7 laps per minute. Then goes up, down, keeps an average, solid average, but the trend line is down. All right, now let's look at the second graph. Let's look at it broken down by every 5 minute mark, right? This is the 5 minute mark graph. This will give you an idea of how the show flows, right? So as you can see, we start off at the 5 minute mark and then gradually gets a bit slower until 25 minute mark, and then another big bump at 30 minutes. So the reason this might be is because a lot of times, with these 20 kind of topics that he has in the show, what happens is he pieces them together, and obviously a lot of times, even for myself as a comedian, I try to, make sure the start is strong, and then the second, going into the second part of the show also starts off very strong, the 30 minute mark. Because a lot of times you'll have 30 minute bits, you put them together, and that's how you can progress. But Louis C.K. is very, very consistent, as you can see, with a big bump here at minute 30, where it goes up to an average of 8.32, and then slowly kind of decreasing to the end of the show at 7.27. Okay? All right, now let's see how that compares with some other comedians. Okay, so now let's see how that actually compares with other comedians. So I've actually also done this same process for, as mentioned, for Tom Segura, Sam Morrill, and Marc Marron. Tom Segura came surprisingly close to Louis C.K.'s performance. So that's why I think that's going to be a good kind of place to benchmark that against the Louis C.K. special. One thing I want to do in the future is I want to benchmark all of Louis C.K.'s special against all his other specials to see how they progress through time. So if you guys want to see that, be sure to subscribe, and I'll try to do it in the future, and leave a comment saying I want it. Okay, so if we look at Tom Segura's special is slightly longer, it's about 69 minutes. So look at the graph here, look at it, the different kind of start for both of them. As you can, Louis starts strong and he starts going down, but there's a lot more consistency with regards to Tom Segura. But Tom Segura averages really well, very close to Louis C.K. But Louis C.K. just manages to stay over him in terms of laps per minute throughout the entire show. So that gives you an idea how the show progresses from this perspective, right? And let's scroll down and look at Sam Morrill. We've added Sam Morrill into the, if you're not familiar with Sam Morrill, he's a New York-based comedian. He's relatively, he's younger comparative to, Tom Segura and to Louis C.K., but he's been obviously in the game for more than 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And his special has done really well on Comedy Central YouTube. I think he has over 1.5 million views at the moment. So let's see how he kind of stacks up to the top brass of the comedy game, right? So you can see Louis C.K. is here, the blue line at the top. He's performed really well. Then you have Tom Segura. We've seen this line before, very consistent. And as you can see, Sam Morrill is actually similar level of bump here with Louis C.K. As you can see, there's a bit of a pattern in terms of the bump at the 30-minute mark, because that's when you compile the 30 minutes, you put them together into 1 hour. So a lot of times the start is very strong. But as you can see, Sam Morrill, being relatively less experienced, averages less in terms of laps per minute than the other two. what I've done is I've also added Marc Marron to the mix, because Marc Marron is different kind of style. He's more mellow, slower, he gets a bit more philosophical at times, and also he's just released a special as well. So I particularly enjoy Marc Marron's special, so let's see how that kind of compares to all the other specials, okay? All right, so look at this. This is Louis C.K. blue line, Marc Marron is the green line. Very, very consistent. As you can see, Marc keeps it at 6 per, almost 6, 5.5 throughout the entire show, which is really what you want to aim for. As a professional comedian, you want to aim for 5 laughs per minute to 6 laughs per minute, because that is a laughter every 12 to 10 seconds, right? And it's a laugh for the audience to kind of digest. So as you can see, Marc does stay within this space of like 5 to 5, 6. And of course, his special is also much longer. So it's much more, at the end of the show, it's more laughs throughout the entire show, because it's about 17 minutes. But that's how it looks in terms of graphs for these 4 comedians. I can go into more detail. I'll go into more detail with regards to some of the jokes and what type of jokes they've done, how kind of punchlines they have, and future videos if you want me to. Let's go back at Louis C.K. and tally up how many jokes, how many laughs does he generate throughout an entire special. 58 minutes of comedy generates, for Louis C.K., 422 laughs. People have laughed 422 times throughout this special. That is a very impressive number. Louis C.K. has really come back in strength in terms of comedic. It's a comedic display of skill. Very strong special. If you guys haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. If you guys did enjoy this video, please do leave a review. Please leave a comment. Please leave a like. If you have any requests, on what other specials I should look at, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. This is a lot of fun for me. So I'm just trying to prioritize whichever way I can. So thanks a lot. Do subscribe and come back for more. Thanks a lot. So I've also done a little bar chart race here. So if you guys want to see who has the most laughs per special, who wins this little race, please be sure to leave a comment, and I will reveal the answer in the next video, where I will talk about Segura. If you have any requests, please also leave those requests in the comment section below. Thanks a lot. See you later.